guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Gifty. So today I'm excited, very excited. And if you're new, welcome. I'm here with my big sister with the same height, okay? My sister from another mother, and she, famous lady, she is an ambassador for Alzheimer's Association. Right. What else? Tell us all your...
I just think I'm an ordinary human being who's had some extraordinary cooking classes by a cooking master, which is why I'm here today.
So we're making pasta from scratch today, and I can't wait. So if you want to see how we make this, just stay tuned, and she'll take it from here.
So I'm Jeannie. I'm going to be your pasta maker today, and I have to start by telling you that I learned this from one of the great Italian chefs of all time, and that is Giuliano Bucciali, who was very well known. He came to this country in the 1970s, and he brought the entire authentic Italian cuisine revolution to this country, and we are still enjoying that. So I got to meet him in this country. I got to travel through Italy and Sicily with him, learning how to cook and eating great food. So today you're going to see me make pasta. I'm going to make a small batch. You won't believe how easy it is. I could do this an hour, even a half an hour before company arrives. Sometimes company likes to watch, and that's what you're doing today. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take a cup of flour, and we're going to put it out on the board. I'm using unbleached all-purpose flour. It can be I like King Arthur's. It's a owner. Everybody who works for King Arthur's owns a piece of the business. I love that, which means they're going to make a quality product. It's unbleached. That's really important to believe in unbleached. And we're going to make a well in the middle of this. Now you can make a lot more pasta than this. Basically, it's 1 cup of flour and to 1 egg. So if I was making 4 cups of flour, I'd be putting 4 eggs in this. But I just want to make a little bit just for the demonstration here today. So I'm going to try to make a wall so that the egg stays inside. That would be good. Okay, so in goes 1 cup of flour. Here comes our egg. Okay, that's good. Now we're going to take a teaspoon of olive oil. And of course, this is extra virgin, which means it's the first pressing. Go for the first pressing. The taste is so much better, and even the nutrition is so much better. Okay, then we're going to put in a dash of salt. Okay, we're now going to put in a generous pinch of salt. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start mixing the egg and the oil and the salt. And from the bottom, I'm going to start mixing in the flour. This is actually very soothing. Don't rush when you're doing this. Take your time, and you want to gently be mixing everything so that it starts to get smooth. This is going to take a few minutes. But I've actually got the fork going underneath, as you can probably see. And then I stop adding more flour, and I mix what I've got here. This is the most labor intensive this is going to get.
So if you don't want to go through this process, can you use like a standard mixer? Because I've seen some people using...
I know some people use a standard mixer. I'm going to tell you what I learned from Giuliano. You eat what you deserve.
Okay.
So take your time. First of all, you'll enjoy this. Of course, you can put anything in a mixer. You don't have to do it this way. I'm doing this the authentic way. This is how people in Italy have been doing this for centuries. So by all means, feel free to modernize this, but I'm going to show you the old-fashioned way.
All right.
And there's 1,000+ books on pasta, which you'll find that you can use your dough hook. Okay, so I'm going to keep that wall going. And as you see, it's starting to turn doughy already. So as you can see, that this has just taken a minute or two, and it's already starting to look like dough, and you see that it's picking up from the board. So at that point, I'm done in terms of using the fork. So Make sure you start with clean hands, which I did. And now I'm going to start kneading this by hand. And I'm actually going to do a little more folding here. So it's good to have, you don't have to have this particular flat thing, which is a pastry cutter. You can use anything, but I'm bringing a little bit more flour into this. And I'm going to take my hands and get it full of flour, and I'm going to start flipping this. So over we go. Okay, so now my job is to continue to incorporating. And you're going to see I have a hand motion. Folding over, pat it, fold, pat, fold, pat. Fold, pat, fold, pat. And you see it looks like I have too much flour on the board. That's okay. I'm going to use however much flour it takes to get this to the consistency where I start using the hand crank pasta machine. And yes, I'm a believer, thanks to Giuliano Bugiali, that handmade is the tastiest. And it's got the best texture. And I'm just making a small batch here. You can be making a much bigger batch, but wait till you see how much pasta this makes. Just 1 cup of flour, 1 egg, a teaspoon of oil, and a pinch of salt. So, okay, my sense of this is that I now actually have the next stage in the dough. So I'm going to stop with the dough. I'm going to start to clean up my board just a little bit here. And I'm going to make sure I don't have any lumps here in the flour. I'm pretty sure I don't. Guess what? I think I do. See, this is why you do this. Look at the little lumps.
Oh, wow.
So it's important that they don't stay in the flour as I continue working from this point on.
Or what's going to happen?
You'll have lumpy pasta, and when it comes out of the pot, it'll have these little hard bits in it, and you won't be happy.
Okay.
It won't look or taste as good as it should. Okay, so now we come to the next part of the kneading. Okay, so I'm going to be folding it. Okay, and fold it once, fold it twice, and then I press my fingers in to start to incorporate more flour. And of course this is sticky. That's okay. Then I'm going to flip it, take a little more flour. I'm going to fold it once, I'm going to fold it twice, and I'm going to press the air out of it. So I'm compressing it, and I'm adding flour every time I do this. And you can see it's very soft and expandable. And I'm going to keep doing this for quite a few minutes until I have a whole different texture where it's, to quote Giuliano, like a baby's behind. And I will show you what I mean when we get to that stage. So, as you can see, we've got more flour incorporated, and this is getting quite smooth, and this has got a lot of body. It's got some give. We don't want to get this too dry. See how you can see my thumbprint in it? It's got some give, and because we're just doing a little sample, this little sample is ready to go over to the pasta machine. So I'm going to move this to the side. I know it looks like I haven't done much, but the dough will tell you what to do. If you get the dough over dry, that's going to be a real problem. So you stop when it's smooth, and you can see that it's smooth. And it feels like a baby's bottom. So that's the trick. All right, the next thing we're going to do is go to the pasta machine. So here is the pasta machine. Now this is an Imperia pasta machine, and it has a dial for bringing the rollers first far apart and then moving them close together so that we actually press the pasta and make it thinner and thinner and thinner. And there's also an Atlas pasta machine. I really love the Imperia. It's made in Italy. It's just better. This is my opinion. So if you're going to go out and buy a pasta machine, which is not expensive, after you see me do this, look for an Imperia. I highly recommend it. So I'm starting with my small but smooth and still moist piece of dough, and I'm now going to start stretching it. And at the beginning, it's going to come out. As you see, it's already getting stretched, and we're going to need a little more flour. So we go back to the board and we very lightly put a little more flour on it. And I like to do this so the flour gets incorporated throughout the top part. But you don't want to put too much on. If this gets too dry, we are not going to have good pasta. So I have not changed the dial. I'm going to do this until this gets a little bit more flour incorporated into it. And you notice that I'm very careful not to have my fingernails on the pasta because we do not want to break it. Now you see it's longer than it was the time before. So again, I'm going to put it. Giuliano has this flying all over the room and there's flour flying all over the room, but since I don't have his wonderful staff of helpers to clean up, I'm not going to make a big mess like that. So here we go. This is number 3. Number 3 turn in here. Now a lot of this has to do with just sensation, but I think I'm going to do this at least one more time with adding some flour before I start to compress the pasta down. Because I want it to be soft, I want it to be pliant, and I do not want it to be too dry. So one more time. Notice how I'm using my hands. I'm using my hands so that I don't touch this with my fingers or my fingernails. Okay, so now I'm going to start compressing it. So I'm going to put the pasta down. Again, you handle it carefully, but it's solid. It's not going to break apart. And I'm going to go from the widest roll. In fact, let's take a look in here. So this is the widest roll, and now I'm going to move it in one. And we very slowly start compressing. Some people will say, why are you bothering to do this? Because it makes great pasta. Okay, so now you notice I'm not adding any more flour at this moment. There's enough flour on here. This takes some time and practice. You might find the first time that your pasta doesn't come out great. And then the second time, same width of the rollers. Okay, now I'm going to move the roller width up. Very carefully. Again, I think there's enough flour on the exterior that I'm not putting any more on there. Okay, very carefully with my fingers. Notice what's happening. It's starting to get longer. Okay, this time I think I'm going to put a little bit more flour because that is part of our mission here. Incorporate some flour and press the pasta into thinness. Okay, so here we go. Through the roller. I'm going to the next setting on the roller. Again, very carefully bringing the pasta out. And we start again.
So basically, every setting you put it on makes it longer and thinner.
Right. The rollers come together.
Okay.
And it presses the pasta and it incorporates the flour. And I feel like I have enough flour. This takes some practice. I feel like I have enough flour on this that I'm not putting any more on because if it gets too dry, it cracks apart and that's no good. So, of course, I have to remember to know what I'm doing here. So, but look at how this has got stretch to it. This has got, it's soft, it's smooth, it's stretchy. Okay, and this is quick. It might take you a few times to get the hang of this, but you're going to notice that this is quick. In Giuliano's classes, he'd have lots of people holding the pasta. But we can't be quite that dramatic here.
Okay.
And remember, we started with 1 egg. We're not done yet. We started with 1 egg, a cup of flour that we didn't even use the whole cup, a little bit of salt, and a little bit of olive oil. So I'm going to keep going here. Now I have to make sure that I move quickly because the pasta does start to get dry.
Okay. So we'll catch you guys when it's time to cut, right? Or we get to the next stage.
So this is what's so amazing. 1 egg, less than 1 cup of flour, a pinch of olive oil, a pinch of salt, and look at this. This is going to make a lot of pasta. So right now, I have to start to cut the pasta. So that will take me just a minute. And first I have to drape this so that it's safe. So I have to start cutting. Okay, so I'm going to drape it on here. Where's my cutter? There's my cutter. All right, right away I have to just start cutting it so that I can manage it. And I'm going to cut it into shorter pieces, and then I'm going to turn that into spaghetti. And you'll see me doing that again with the pasta machine. So, here we go. Here's a piece. They don't have to be even. If you're fanatic, you can do that. I'm not quite so fanatic. I don't worry about that. Most important that at this point you have to be moving fairly rapidly. And the pasta is still moist. If it's too dry, it starts cracking at this stage. And we still have to put it through a very fine roller that's going to cut it into spaghetti. Okay, so we have used the roller part of the Imperia pasta machine. Now I'm going to use the cutting part. And as you can see, I can make very fine spaghetti, or I can make larger spaghetti. And these machines come with different attachments to do this. So this slides right on. I take the crank out, and I'm going to put the crank in here now. Or I think maybe we're going to use this one. Let's see what happens when we use this one. So I'm going to take one of my pieces. Again, watch your hands. And this is why it can't be too dry, because you have to be able to have it catch in here. And then it's making spaghetti. It looks like almost nothing, but wait till we make all of it, and there'll be an amazing amount of spaghetti. This was an inexpensive meal for an Italian family to have that would, with a hearty sauce, can really make a lovely, lovely meal. And people love it when you make pasta by hand because it tastes heavenly. It tastes like nothing else. It is very different from dried pasta. I think most of the people have seen the pasta sold even in the stores in like these little bunches like this.
Yeah.
Now you know how that happens. Some people actually cut their pasta with a knife.
Okay.
I'm not that old-fashioned. I love this machine. It gets the job done quickly. Yeah, I mean it's not that hard. It's like cutting anything else, but that's definitely time-consuming, and it doesn't come out as beautifully even as this does. So this can sit here on the towel now until we have the water boiling, or even for a couple of hours until company comes. Okay, so for our last little piece here, I'll just show you what the angel hair looks like as it comes through. Look how beautiful that is. Just beautiful. So, that's it. You've now seen how tricky it is to make pasta. It's not. The only thing that's tricky is that you have to feel with your hands when it has enough flour in it and not overdo it. And this is going to come out soft and delicious, and it's going to cook up in boiling water in about 2 minutes. Okay, so there's all kinds of flour. You can make pasta with chestnut flour, with whole wheat flour, with semolina, all kinds of different flours. And I don't have the time or ability to answer a whole ton of questions, but I'm going to tell you who has the answer, and that is my wonderful teacher, Giuliana Buggiali. This book is still out in bookstores. You can get it at Amazon, and it's all about pasta, and it has a lot of pictures inside, so you'll see the things that I kind of do, you'll see in pictures. I would recommend this book because I love him as a teacher, and it'll just tell you everything you need to know that I can't tell you here. So enjoy your pasta, and we're going to cook it up in just a few minutes.
And we're in New Jersey, so if you're ever in New Jersey, come visit her and she'll make you some fresh pasta.
In about 20 minutes. So the pasta has been patiently waiting for the water to boil, which we have going on now. And before I put the pasta in the boiling water, I just want to show you how it's not sticking together because I sprinkled a little flour over it and then tossed it. Again, you have to be very careful with your fingernails. Just tossed it very gently, and it's in perfect condition. And it really doesn't matter. You could leave this dry for the day. This has now been drying probably for about a half an hour or so. And the little pasta also, I sprinkled it with a little bit of flour so that it's not stuck together. So when it goes in the water, as you're about to see, it'll all separate. So here's the boiling water. I put it on this and just drop it in. It's all about gentle, light touch with the pasta in your hands. Drop it in, and then you're going to see when it rises to the top, it's done. Might as well just put everything in. a little stir, and very gentle. And as it rises to the top, we'll let it come back to a full boil. So this is amazing. People will be so amazed that you've made pasta when you know, and I know, that it takes about maybe 20-25 minutes to make it. Then you can let it dry as long as necessary. It takes, 2 minutes to boil it, and then we're going to take it out, and we're going to have some. Wish you were here. Okay, so we're going to scoop this out. It's all at the top, as you can see, which means it's cooked. That's how fast homemade pasta cooks. So I'm taking it out in this sieve that is made to do this.
So where can we find something like that?
Any cooking store. Any good, Sur La Table, Cook Central, whatever cooking store you have near you, you should be able to do this.
So can you just use like a fine mesh strainer?
You absolutely right. You don't have to have this. In fact, this is a little bit big for what I'm doing right here today. So that's one bowl. And look at how it's a lot of pasta when you remember what I started with. So choice number 2, something smaller. And then if you've made a sauce or want just a little bit of butter and cheese on it, this is ready to go. We have the finished product here. We have pasta. Notice how it's not sticking together. Here's the pasta without the marinara sauce.
Pasta with some Parmesan cheese, right? Mm-hmm. We're gonna give it a taste. This is good. Wow. So light. Oh my goodness. I'm sure it won't weigh you down once you're done eating, right? Like the box
Actually,
stuff.
only if you eat, I guess, if you eat a lot of it, but yeah. It's light, it's fluffy, it's airy, and it doesn't taste anything like dry pasta. And it is so fabulously delicious, and it's so simple to make, and its ingredients are so simple. So as they say in Italy, buon appetito.
Well guys, this is it for today. If you want to see more of Jeannie, make sure you like the video. She makes the best challah bread if you've ever had that bread. Risotto, call it, we'll make it. If you want to see more of her, we'll come down to New Jersey and we'll make it. This is where I grew up, so until then, stay blessed, stay out of trouble, and be well. Bye y'all.
Okay, so I have a perfect piece of pasta here. Of course, this has not been cut up like the rest of it, but you can see it's smooth. It's soft like a baby's bottom. I know that sounds so funny, but that's the only way to describe it. And it has give. See, this is the whole point. You can't get this too loaded with flour and get it dried out. Then it won't go through the pasta machine because it's too dry. It'll just crack apart. So this is perfect. And that's where you need to be as you start to use the pasta machine. And some people would use a rolling pin, but I love my Imperia Pasta machine because you see how fast I made it. It was just so easy. So now we're boiling water, but I will tell you that the first time I made pasta, I was adding too much flour. And Giuliano had a classroom of about 12 people. And you think that one person doing something in one spot that he wouldn't necessarily notice them. As soon as I started doing this wrong, there he was. His hand was like right there, like stop. I'm like, what? What did I do wrong? He says, you're adding too much flour. You're going to make that pasta hard, and it's not going to go through the machine, and it's going to dry out, and it's going to crack apart. He was right. I had to start all over again. So if you have trial and error, you'll very quickly get to the place where you understand this smooth, soft piece of pasta, and that's when you stop. You can feel the the gluten in it, because flour has gluten, and you can feel that gluten making it stretchy and smooth, and that's what you want. And then you're gonna have great pasta.